that's how we played our alternating bass, right? With our standard little tune here, kind of the Mississippi John Hurt style, and now we're going to rag this up and make it more of an East Coast ragtime blues style. Some of the guys that did this were, the most famous ones were Blind Blake and Reverend Gary Davis. So the chord progression's the same, the basic alternating bass is the same, kind of. So here's the new twist. So this has been our standard C alternating bass. So 5th string, 4th string, 6th string, 4th string, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so here's how we rag it up. So our second bass, so our kind of offbeat bass, so here's our downbeat bass, on this case the 5th string. Instead of just hitting the 4th string on the next bass note, we make a chord and we kind of accent it. So just like in rock and roll we have that backbeat accent on the drum, well, it's the same thing here. So boom, chick, boom, chick. It's kind of a boom, chick, but it's really emphasized and it's a chord. I'm hitting, actually, rather than just the 4th string, I'm hitting the 4th and the 3rd string. So that's that sound. That's our chick sound. So it's going to be important to, I'm kind of muting it at the end so we don't have a lot of ringy jangliness happening, but it's going to be important to first get that figured out. Okay, so before you try to put it all together, you're going to want to spend some time just making those kind of 2-note chords, right? So we're strumming 2 notes at the same time. So where before my attack has kind of been picking away from the string, I hit the string, and as my thumb kind of moves diagonally away from the next string to avoid it, now we're going to actually pick into the string. So if you look closely at my thumb, you'll see that I've changed my angle of attack from being, I'm kind of hitting the string with my pick straight on, perpendicular to the string, and then plucking away. Now I'm leaning my pick into the string and making a little bit of a brush across the 2 strings there. And if you get a little bit more, a little bit less once in a while, it's not a big deal. It's not necessary to be super precise about it, but most of the time you're going to want to try to get a couple of notes there. And so if we add in our downbeat basses now, and we'll alternate back and forth between the 5th and the 6th string on our downbeat bass, and our second bass, our offbeat bass, is always going to be that little partial chord on our 4th and 3rd strings. Okay, and then we get that jump to it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, now here's another little detail to work towards. When I play my 5th string bass, the downbeat bass, the first one, I'm actually picking into my 4th string and stopping there for a second and then doing the strum. So I pick in my string, my thumb pick actually stops against the 4th string. So I'm kind of snapping that pick into the 4th string and then strum, boom, strum, boom, strum, boom, stops briefly on the 4th string, and then strum. So you can see all the time I'm doing that new attack. I have my thumb angled like this, my thumb pick angled, and I'm driving into the strings rather than kind of picking away from them. Boom, and that's really important. And then when I move to my 6th string, now I pick into my 5th string, but I'm not going to fret it. So this is, pluck it. So this is a tricky part. I've got to kind of hop over it and then do my strum. Okay, so takes a lot of practice. I pick into the 5th string, kind of hop over it, and then do my strum. Okay, but you see, listen carefully to the note the sound of that first bass note on the 6th string this time. See, when I pick away versus when I drive into that next string. See how there's so much more punch to it? That's just really important to the sound. So drive into that string, we hop over the top of it without making a sound, and then we do our brush chord. And now let's alternate between the 5th string and the 6th string on our downbeat bass. Brush, brush. So each time I'm driving into, on our downbeat bass, I'm driving into the next string, and then I'm either brushing it, in the case of the 5th string, brush, or I'm hopping quickly over it to my brush. Okay, and now let's add in the melody. So the melody part is going to be the same. We won't kind of analyze the details of it. So that's the first phrase, our C phrase, and then okay, now on this F, since we're playing our melodies on sometimes on the 3rd string, and our 2nd bass note is again happening on the 4th string, our offbeat bass, it's a little bit harder to get those brushes in, and it won't always happen depending on exactly where we're at with our melody, and that's not a big deal. But we're still driving in, so you'll notice I'm still driving into the 5th string when I play my 6th string bass there. So we put those 2 phrases together. Again. One more time. And then we go back to a C phrase again, but now remember we're not playing that G note on the 1st string, we're playing the open note. And there's our G chord. And once again, we're doing driving our 6th string bass note and the pick into the 5th string, and then hopping over and getting that partial chord on the 4th and the 3rd string. And a lot of times I'm kind of, I'm using the same muting idea that we did with our Texas blues, but I'm not necessarily always laying this edge of my palm down on the bass to mute notes, but if things are getting a little jangly like they do on the G chord, because I don't have fretted notes in there to kind of loosen up, so when I'm doing this on the C, I'm strumming that, and then I'm right away lifting up my 2nd finger, which is fretting the 4th string. I'm just releasing the tension. I'm not lifting it off the string. I'm just releasing the pressure, so I kill the note there. So I'm getting that real sharp kind of chunky sound rather than a ringy sound. So I want the chunky sound, not a ringing sound. A chunky sound, like that. And that's harder to do with the G chord here because I don't have any fretted notes to work with. So one of the things I sometimes do is I kind of bend my 2nd finger backwards like this to just touch those strings to kill it, or sometimes I'll use my picking hand palm to kill that backbeat note, or sometimes I use a little bit of both of them together. After a while, the different types of muting kind of get automatic and you don't really think about it anymore. But let's look at that G chord a little bit. Okay, so that's how that ragtime bass goes.